No.
All right, hi everyone. Welcome to SBR Sports Picks. His name is Jimmy the Bag. My name is Peter Loshak. This is Loshak in the Bag Show for Thursday afternoon, January 3rd. We've got the start of the insane part of college basketball season going today. Every Wednesday and Thursday basically up until March is going to be complete insanity, and including today. Thankfully, we're going to have Maxwell Smart, who is really a college basketball psychiatrist when you think about it, because like a psychiatrist helps you deal with insanity. And that's how Maxwell Smart is with college. Was that a bad analogy? Like, he helps us deal with college basketball insanity, right?
Yeah, I never thought of it like that.
Not bad.
But I mean, the problem is just that you can get totally overwhelmed by the card. And last year, I would spend the afternoon trying to figure out my way through it. It wasn't successful. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do this year, but I am looking forward to conference play.
I know what I'm going to do this year, Jimmy the Bag. For college basketball, I'm going to focus. I'm going to hone in probably on games that involve definitely marquee, major conferences and ranked teams, because there's a lot more information that you can find very easily. And I'm going to hone in on it. I felt I had a very good read on that Maryland-Nebraska game. I know it was a little bit lucky, but I did get a win on that one, and obviously the number was very important. I feel like the one game I looked at in depth today, NC State and Miami, Florida, which I gave on the under 154, and the first half, 72.5 in the morning show. I feel like I have a pretty okay read on that one. That's how I'm going to handle it, Jimmy the Bag. Of course, the recommended way of handling it is just kind of listen to Maxwell Smart and everyone else in Loshak in the Bag Show, including Kobe Valentine, Noli Knows, all these guys, Teddy B, guys who know the college basketball very well, and just to aggregate their opinions and vaguely follow what they have to say and do, right?
Yeah, I think that one thing that we've done successfully as a group is lean on people who feel like certain spots or certain schools or certain conferences or certain sports they believe that they're experts in. And so and now one thing we're doing is we are going to have a guest on every show, every day, whether it be the early show. We prefer the late show just because the early show, we'd like to get all of our work kind of done.
Yeah.
But let's see if we can get King Rail next week.
Absolutely.
Let's get these guys. Let's get Ski Profit. Let's get these guys who are killing it.
Lean on me.
There you go.
In college hoops, there's too many games.
Oh, God.
I just get so fucked up when I see
Lord.
200 teams playing each other.
Oh.
I need Maxwell Smart. Made that up on the spot. Jimmy the Bag. High five. All right, let's get into it. College hoops. Maxwell Smart's going to join us. All right, one thing we don't need any help with. We don't need an NHL psychiatrist, Jimmy the Bag. We are doing fine. We're doing fine in NHL.
We are, but I don't know why I talked myself off the over on this at this 2 o'clock game.
Because it was 6.5. I mean, it's tough to take a 6.5 over. You know that.
I don't think I've done that all year.
Yeah.
I don't think I've taken an over 6.5.
And especially with Minnesota, they can be such a low-scoring team, right?
Well, they're not doing it. It was the power play. It was the power play that really got me off of it. Because I could have got a 6 minus 120. I could have got a 6 minus 120. But when a team is doing nothing on the power play, I'm very hesitant to jump on them to do anything positive. Let's give a quick shout out to everybody joining us right now. We got Abba Zaba 78, love that guy. Top set in the house. Nutflush Allen, Red Girl coming off a great day yesterday. Daryl Lyles, Jeremy Miller, Tomarino, Ron Lofton, Good BK Capper. We have a Rosie, Crypto King, Steve Priest, Joe Ramirez, not applicable, Luis Melendez, Barham, Dog, Jenkins, Chris Sanitate, Super Cisco, great group, Mr. Gokes, John Garcia.
Yeah,
we got a great
and
group.
Here we go. Mook LaFleur says, watching for 2 years now. My first live chat. I love watching this show, especially with my spliff. Good luck, guys. Shout out to you, Mook
look
LaFleur.
At that.
Yeah,
Mook
absolutely.
LaFleur, I like that guy.
Alan Action says, I put up a lighter during Pete's singing. 500 fucking teams, give me a break. I need some help in college hoops. Lean on Maxwell Smart. All right, NHL.
We have Drew joining us from SBR Forum. He gave Calgary as a play yesterday.
Did he
He
really?
also said Calgary could win the Stanley Cup and stop this very long drought that's going on in Canada. He was bang on coming back from a 2-0 deficit in the first period.
So the plays that Jimmy and I have given, we talked about Calgary, Boston. Calgary, again, is on a back-to-back, and I was leaning Boston here. Jimmy, of course, made the strong argument that pretty much in any case, it's scary to bet against Calgary, especially as a dog. I certainly can't make an argument against that. Florida, Buffalo, Jimmy the Bag took the over. Chicago Islanders, we both took the Islanders. I took -1. Jim took -1.5. I have seen some opinions. I believe Kobe Valentine likes Chicago. And then Tampa Bay, LA, we both took the under. Jim took full game. I took first period under. And and I might go on double up on that one as well. Very, very interesting shit, though. Washington and St. Louis, we talked about this one, right? Washington is a road favorite here in the morning show. I was saying when you have a team that's a road favorite and an obviously better team than Washington, it always feels like either a trap or a too good to be true or a situation where it's just there's big value. And we have seen major two-way line movement here. The early money came in on St. Louis, bet them all the way down to a favorite. Now it's way back up in Washington's favor. And what is that? Is someone out for that? That must be someone's out, right?
I'll bring up all of the injuries that are going on right now. But first, we have the Williams sisters at a. I don't know. You know New York area.
They're back.
Yeah.
Weren't they the ones that said that they told me they loved me? Didn't they? At one point, in one comment,
I think they did. Loves Loshak. Yeah, that's what they're saying.
But at one point, they said they loved me specifically a few shows ago. Shout out to the Williams sisters from Passaic, New Jersey.
Passaic, New Jersey, in the house.
Anyway,
nice.
Anyway,
love
listen.
seeing that.
So I guess let's start with. So those are the plays that we've got. I'm still leaning on Boston -1, even though it's tough to bet against Calgary. Carolina Philly is very interesting in the morning show. Mr. Gokster, guy who knows his hockey, right, said there might be 10 goals in the Philly game. Keep that in mind, Jimmy the Bag. Mr. Gokster said there might be 10 goals in the Philly game. He likes the over. Florida Buffalo, Jimmy already gave the over. Vancouver Montreal, I don't even know what to make of that. A massive line move in favor of Montreal. We'll talk about that in a second. Islanders, Jimmy and I both took. Islanders, that might have been a mistake. And again, Washington, St. Louis, big U-shaped line movement. And then Tampa Bay, LA, we're both on the under. Let's talk about Washington, St. Louis. Jimmy the Bag, do you have any explanation for this U-shaped line movement? I suspect that you do.
I think Tomarino nails it here. Tomarino says Washington has the same record on the road as at home, but the books keep charging a premium to bet them at home. They've won 4 straight on the road. Now, the reason why it went on the Blues initially, we know that a capper that we roll with, Richie Rich, who's a great NHL capper, is all over the Blues here this evening. And I can understand why. They're getting healthy. They're at home. I certainly don't want to take them here against the Capitals. I think that's a very dangerous thing to do.
So what's up with is that just money, or is there someone out for St. Louis? What the hell happened?
Let me pull everything up.
What the hell happened here?
Let me pull everything up here.
There's no goalie change. There's no goalie change. It's still Allen against Holtby.
I would expect some cappers thinking that they're getting they're almost getting a discount on a Stanley Cup champion. I would guess that would be.
I can understand the money in favor of Washington.
Hurricanes are starting Mrazek.
Right. So we're liking the over then now even more. And Mr. Gokster did say that there might be 10 goals in this game. Right. We're talking about Carolina against the Flyers, and it's against Newverth. I mean, is this just like screaming over right in our face?
Jewish sex learner in the house. Nice to have him back with us. I don't like Mrazek at all, but he's actually been playing a little bit better than I expected him to. Always been a streaky goalie, but I don't know if I hate him right now. Get a closer look at his numbers.
Don't know if you hate him.
6-8-2, 2.59 goals against average, 901 save percentage. He's vulnerable. Daryl Lyles is on that Flyers Hurricanes over. I tell you what, it makes me want to take the Flyers. Let's see what Tomor has to say. Tomor says, Philly played slightly better after firing the coach, but they've looked bad the last week. The Philly's a bad team, but this looks like a good spot to back them. Revenge game after a bad road trip. Using bad a lot. I know Tomarino does not like this Flyers squad, and we have a $100 bet whether they'll make the playoffs. Mr. Gokster says he likes Philly and the over. Again, now this blew up in my face with not taking the over in the 2 o'clock game this afternoon, but I don't want to back teams that are playing poorly on the power play. It's just, you need the special teams rolling for you to make money off of teams. And it's something that I've always paid such close attention to. And I've showed Pete the way I set up my card every morning. The first thing I do is I put the starters down, I put their stats down, but then I have what they're ranking goals per game, the amount, ranking goals allowed, and the amount, power play, and penalty killing. It's crucially important. Here, the Canes are 28th in their power play at 14.4%. They're 11th in their penalty killing at 81.2%. I wanted McElhaney in net. So what is the money line on the Flyers right now? Can you please, if you don't mind, if you have a second, could you give me the money line on the Flyers and the puck line on the Flyers?
Oh, sure. The Flyers, actually, it's very, very tiny movement in their favor. It's up into the 120s, but minus 114 at Pinnacle. And the puck line has seen a concomitant movement around plus, Greek actually has 240. So if you wanted the Flyers, you could get 240. Everyone else is in the 220s.
I'm starting to feel like the Flyers
might be the play, right?
Yeah, they might be the play here. I don't like Mrazek. I actually thought his numbers were a tiny bit better than what I just read out. I'm a little surprised that they're quite that bad. I would sure love it if Nolan Patrick was back in the lineup, questionable Thursday. God, he's been bad all year, but this is a number 2 overall pick. Andrew McDonald, let's see, dealing with an undisclosed injury, will miss Thursday's contest, so we're going to be down a defenseman. Radko Gudas has just not been as good as I expected him to be this year. Let's see what the guys are saying. Dan Kelly says, put up your NHL records, Dan Kelly.
Oh, there you go.
For.
Dan Kelly knows how to make a request that's going to make us happy. Dan Kelly, massive shout out to Dan Kelly. Dan Kelly, by the way, gave his friends a golf pick, which I tailed. Oh, yeah? Not to win the tournament, but in a matchup prop. Shout out to you, Dan Kelly. All right, we can do a request from Dan Kelly. We're going to honor that. Whatever he wants, he gets. Throw the NHL record. There you go. Jimmy the Bag, I am. All right, so let's hear you go. Mally Mal says, Gokster, I'm on Boston. I was definitely leaning Boston. Isaiah Moore says, stay away from the Boston-Calgary game. Kevin Pine says, backing Philly is dangerous right now. Jim, I agree with that.
Definitely.
Right? Let's see. What else do we have?
We are getting Mike Smith on the back-to-back.
Right.
I think that's a good choice for the Flames. Throwing Gillies into the fire would have been very dangerous against a tough Boston team and a tough building to play in.
Darryl Lyle says, Flyers offense good, whack defense. Mr. Gokster, Carolina, Philly. I like Philly in the over.
Squatty Latte says, I just want to sit behind Pete and gently comb his hair.
Yeah,
You get that a lot?
I do. I do get people who say that they like my hair. What can I say? Kevin Pine says, Philly are they really a mess right now? Philly is a bad team, but this Comarino says it's a bad team. Looks like a good spot to back them. Revenge game after a bad road trip.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
I don't want to force any picks here.
They're 3-4-1 with Scott Gordon. They've let me down time after time after time this year. I'm not getting a healthy Nolan Patrick. So when we look at this Hurricanes team, we know that Jordan Staal out with concussion issues. So you're going to get and need a lot more from Victor Raskin. He is playing well.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Lucas Walmart got his first goal of the season recently. I guess that's not true. I guess his first goal in a long time. He has 3 goals this year. My fault. I don't know. It's a.
Ralph Portuando says, damn it, Pete, you still owe me a birthday pick. Ralph Portuando, pretty sure I gave one. Pretty sure it lost, but I might be wrong about that. But I'm pretty sure I gave one. Pretty sure it
Brent
lost.
Hunt
Ralph
wants to know what
but
the
happy
golf
birthday
pick
anyway. It was champion, right? It was. Let me see. I don't even remember. But we got it. It's definitely. Let me see. Mr. Gokster, Flyers baby. All right, yeah. I think I might. You don't want to force plays, but yesterday, the Detroit team total over. I said I liked that one. I didn't give it. What else? The under in the Edmonton game, the first period under in the Edmonton game. I said I liked those two. I didn't give it. I'm up like 70 units in my leans in NHL right now. I would be close to 100. I might be up 100 units if I had given all my leans in NHL so far. So I might do that today.
I think the Flyers.
Yeah, it was Cameron Champ.
Is Cameron Champ?
Yeah. But I took him in a matchup prop. Go ahead.
It does make sense in Brent Hunt saying to win the tournament. No, just a matchup prop.
I bet him in a matchup prop, but Dan Kelly liked him to win the tournament.
I think the Flyers, I think this makes sense. I think this makes sense. I'm not going to jump on an over or even a team total over that Gokster's leaning towards right now. I mean, this team scored 2 goals in his last 3 games.
They're that bad offensively?
Well, you're going to bring in Nolan Patrick back into the lineup, and if it's an upper body injury, if he's in the lineup, he's not going to be taking face-off. And if he is taking faceoffs, he's going to lose 65% of them.
Nutflush Allen says, really like this as a parlay. Flyers over, Kings under, Spurs under, and NC State under. Well, I'm already on the NC State under. I'm already on the Spurs under. And the Flyers side, I'm leaning towards very, very strongly.
Oh, no.
What was that?
Dan Kelly says, shh.
Oh, shit.
Champ is currently winning.
Shout out to you, Jan Kelly. See, there you go. The question is, do nerds with spreadsheets believe in jinxes? At least in Gan Kelly's case, we have a small sample size of 1. The answer appears to be yes. Nerds with spreadsheets. See, look, I'm one. If I had a spreadsheet, I was a nerd until I made a stupid decision to not be one. If I was a nerd with a spreadsheet, I'd still believe in jinxes. We're not going to jinx shit for you, Dan Kelly.
My man Topset, Elio Rodriguez says, I love the pick of you guys in Fear and Loathing. Yeah, I would love to do some peyote with you and just let go. Or what's the ayahuasca?
Ayahuasca. Yeah. We got to make a fucking Loshak in the Bag movie. You got to make a fucking Loshak in the Bag movie. Sit back and let everyone who fucking treated us like shit our whole lives come in and suck it. All right, let's see.
Rosie's still making fun of my sample size comment to Dan. Hey, I'm sorry. I got a little defensive. I love Dan like a brother. Got a little defensive there.
All right, I'm going to make some decisions here. I think you got to take Boston here, right? I know Calgary's a great team, but it's not a good spot for them. Boston is good, right? They got Tuukka Rask starting, right? Is Rask starting? Is he starting?
Yes.
Oh, no, I'm seeing Halak unconfirmed. Is it?
Oh, wow.
Is it Halak?
Oh, interesting. I capped that game thinking Tuukka was in there.
And you got Mike Smith on a back-to-back.
Yeah, an old goalie on a back-to-back.
Yeah. And I mean, is Boston not the obvious player? I know they're banged up, but they're still good, right? No?
They're not that banged up anymore. We're
Right.
just talking about McAvoy, who could even be back tonight.
All right, I'm going to take Boston -1. If it loses, it loses. I'm going to take Boston -1. The money line will be -150, and the puck line will be, wow, it's down from +193, -150, and the puck line will be +175. I'll take that one. So I'm going to take Boston -1, -150 / +175. So that's in the bank. Carolina, Philadelphia, leaning Philadelphia team total over, leaning first period over, leaning Philly. I mean, they're a bad team, but the spot favors them. I'll take them as well. I'll take Philly -1. I understand that they're a crappy team, but I'm going to take Philly -1. Go ahead.
Kevin Pine with you says, love Boston, great home team too. No doubt about that. I can definitely understand this play.
I'm taking Philly, the money on -1. The money line is -114. The puck line will be +240 at the Greek. I would also be leaning over on that one as well. Let's throw in some, maybe the first period over Carolina, Philly. Carolina puts a lot of shots on goal. Philly can be okay offensively, right?
Well,
No?
Yeah, they should be.
They should be.
They have a nice group of forwards. I'm not entirely sure. When they went on that Western Canadian swing, actually, it was just pretty much a Western swing earlier in the year, and Drew made that big comment about he wants them to get on the road, he wants them to come together on the road, and they had a really nice road trip. I thought, man, this team's going to come together and roll. Every year, and I know, I mean, it's probably a silly thing it's a vividness bias, but every year, the Flyers go on an 8 or 9 game win streak and put themselves into contention, and then you think, why weren't they doing it the whole time? Jewish Sex Learner says, you on the Islanders, Jimmy? I am. I love the Islanders. Tell me I beat a big line move in the Islanders -1.
Nah, almost no movement. Actually, very, very, you got +165, right?
Yeah.
All right, you did. Yeah, no, you could still get 165 with the Greek. Almost no line movement on this one. I'm feeling like Carolina, Philly, I'm going to take the first period over. That's going to be -123. Carolina, Philly, first period over, 1.5 -123. I'm taking that one. I'm leaning Philly team total over 2.5 as well, -160. Mr. Gokster is liking that one. Go ahead.
I tell you what, there's a couple things we haven't talked about. One, coach of the Hurricanes, Rod Brind'Amour. I mean, we don't know. Now, I feel like I actually do have a bit of an insight in this situation because 15 years ago or whatever it was, I was in a bar and there was Philly reporters that were in town.
Oh, yeah?
And I overheard them talking about it was a famous situation where supposedly, and other guys can chime in on this, supposedly Lindros had some sort of, we thought it was an affair with Brind'Amour's wife. It might have been with a teammate's wife that wasn't Brind'Amour. But Brind'Amour walked in, knocked him out in the dressing room. Lindros was then done for the year with a concussion. Brind'Amour went upstairs to Bobby Clark, said it's me or him, and Bobby Clark said, well, then it's you, and shipped him off to Carolina. And now the coach is coming back to Philly. I don't know how much, if he cares that much because this is a spot where you could put a dagger into this Flyers team. Now you also have this young star goaltender in Carter Hart coming off a very bad game where he got pulled after the first period, who says, I have no problem. Look at my history. I bounce back from bad games. And I loved hearing him say that. For a young guy to say that right to the guy, well, look at my history. I bounce back from bad games.
But Carter Hart isn't playing.
It is not Carter Hart. What do you mean?
It's Newverth. What, for Philly? Who are you talking about?
I
For
thought it
Philly.
was Carter Hart.
No. It's Newverth. That's why.
Because Newverth came in after Carter Hart was pulled after the first period. I thought they would go right back with Carter Hart.
I'm just telling you what I'm seeing here. I'm looking at Daily Faceoff. I'm seeing Newverth confirmed, right? Not likely confirmed. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing here.
Wow, yeah, some guys chiming in. My man Jim Rumsdu says, I remember that story from when I was in 4th grade. Oh, wow. King Rail says, I'm thinking I'm growing a third nipple. Is that normal? He's taking us away from the captain.
Biology is very, very, very freaky at times. So if Newverth's in, does that make you like Carolina a lot more? Maybe.
It makes me uncomfortable. I've never trusted Newverth.
Yeah.
I'm not going to now, but he did step in when Hart was playing bad and performed nicely. Let's just take a look at what Newverth is. God, these awful numbers. 1-3-1 with a 4.09 goals against average. You know what? I'm off. I'm not going to take New York. I'm
All right.
off.
Well, I've taken Philly -1. I have taken the first period over. I'd be leaning Philly on the team total over as well. But since I'm on Philly -1, if their team total over doesn't cover the 2.5, I definitely won't want to be doubling up with a -1. So that's it for me. Florida Buffalo. I trust Jimmy the Bag, but I'm going to stay off that one. Jimmy the Bag is on the over on that one. Vancouver Montreal. We have seen a big line move, massive line move in favor of Montreal. We do want to get to NBA and then of course to Maxwell Smart.
Yes.
Let's just wrap up NHL. Anything about the line move in Montreal you want to mention before we wrap this up in NHL?
You know, I just think there are a couple teams where you're just going to get no value fading.
Right.
And to me, I've said all year that it's the Canucks and the Islanders.
Mm-hmm.
But with the Habs here, the Habs are playing really good hockey. And this is a dangerous spot for the Canucks, who barely beat a terrible Ottawa Senators team last night. What is the money line right now on the Habs?
I mean, what the hell happened here? It's up to -185 at Pinnacle, -200 at 5 dimes. The best line you get right now would be -185. So it's a 40-cent line move at Pinnacle in favor of Montreal.
Yeah, I just, it's not going to make sense to fade the Canucks. I had them -1.5 against the Blues over the holidays. I got +235 on that.
Wow.
I mean, and they won 5-1 easily. They're just not going to get respect in the market. Christopher Comentini saying the over in Habs Canucks. One question we talked about in the early show is who is in goal in the Canucks Habs game? Because that was what we were discussing.
Carey Price confirmed. Markstrom likely.
Wow.
I knew it was going to be. Based on everything I read, I was like, it's going to be Price. So I was surprised. There was never a doubt for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Price better step up. He's had one practice. God, I want to fade him so badly. But I'm not gonna mess with that line movement. I love the Islanders. Remo's talking about the Tampa Bay LA under. I love the under there. What's been the movement in that?
Almost no movement since you took it, Jimmy the Bag. You got 6 minus something, or it's like 6 plus 100 now. You know, it's and the big question here is just the style of play. I mean, like, well, what happened last night, right? You thought there was going to be an under in the Pittsburgh game. First period, of course, is very low scoring. And then, of course, all of a sudden, everything exploded. And I guess I'm a little bit worried about that here. That's why I took the first period. I'm thinking that LA will be able to impose their style of play early, and then later.
We just saw LA. I didn't mean sorry to
no,
interrupt you in the middle of that,
interrupt.
but we just watched LA in Vegas,
right,
against a very fast Vegas team that's rolling,
right,
and it was 0-0 going to the third period because they knew that they were going up against a much faster team. And that they got to set up a wall, they got to play the trap, they got to play boring hockey. Why wouldn't they just do that here? I love the under 6.
Don't you think that Tampa Bay is just a notch better than Vegas, though?
Yes.
Yeah. So what they were able to do, what they did against Vegas, is not necessarily something they'll be able to be capable of doing against Tampa.
No, they're going to do the exact same thing, and I think they'll find success with it. But they could find success, and Tampa could win 4-1.
Right. I feel you, Jim. All right, I'm not going to double up on that one. I'm just going to take the first period under, and I guess that's it. Nothing else from NHL, right?
No, I came very close to adding the Flyers. I don't trust Neuwirth. Maybe he plays well tonight. I think they should have gone back to Carter Hart. He's a kid like Thatcher Demko that we've got coming up that you want these kids to bounce back, to show adversity. I don't like the fact that Gordon didn't go right back with Hart. I think it was a mistake.
You think it was a mistake. All right, so, and then the Buffalo-Florida game, you like the over, but you don't necessarily like Buffalo here.
No, I don't like Buffalo.
You like Florida, maybe.
Yeah, I like Florida here, but Luongo's playing horrible. Is Luongo being confirmed?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Luongo's playing horribly. I like the over here, even with Eichel's injury. And I guess that total's moved way down because there's no Eichel?
What did you get it at? No, it's right around, no, almost no movement.
Because I couldn't believe, there's 6s everywhere, right?
Yeah.
But why is Bet365 still hanging a 6.5? I still haven't been able to bet it.
Bet365 is hanging at 6.5. Yes, they are. I am seeing this because they've
been hanging it all day.
That's what books sometimes do for various reasons of risk management. Sometimes books make intentionally outlier lines. Pinnacle will sometimes do that very, very carefully. The Greek will sometimes do that more starkly than Pinnacle. And here we have Bet365 doing it for whatever their reasons are. You'd have to ask their risk management department, and you'd have a solid answer. I can only speculate. They obviously want money on the under, though.
They do, and I'm not going to bet it at 6.5. Mitchell Chagas says Florida without Eichel out is easy money, but I don't trust Luongo at all, and that's my problem. That's why I'm not going to make the play. Mr. Gokes says, shit, I like the under in Florida. I think we spent too much time in NHL. We're going to have my man Max up here shortly, so why don't we move on to NBA? Because why don't you go over our plays again? Because I think I'm going to pull the trigger on the Nuggets. I've seen the market move in that direction, and I think I should jump on. But I want to talk.
I would be leaning Nuggets as well. Again, Jimmy the Bag took Houston plus 8.5 minus 106. That hasn't been much line movement on that one. I took the Spurs and the Toronto game under. So did Jimmy the Bag. So does Dan Kelly. Like that one. I also took the first quarter under on that one. 56 minus 118. Denver Sacramento game. Actually, there hasn't been any line movement since the morning show on that line. It's still 3.5.
Was it 3? There were no 2.5s when we did our morning show?
Oh, it opened at 3. It was 3.5 solid in the morning show, and it is now still 3.5.
Interesting. I've got the year off to a bad start, and I've had a really bad 10 days or so. There was a point in December where I was up about 2,300, and things started slipping. And the only way I think to stop it is to cut down my quantity of action. So I like the under in Raptors Spurs. And I'm very interested in the Nuggets. Can we break down this? So there's a ton of talk on the Warriors game. I get it, and we can hammer that too. Crypto King leaning under in Golden State Warriors, Houston. But I want to talk about this game because I'm thinking of adding a bet on the Nuggets here. There were some very interesting comments saying that if you look at the advanced analytics for the Sacramento Kings, there's comments from the chat on the early show, that they're worse than their record indicates. Right. And when I watch this team, I agree. And with Bagley out of the lineup, I think that this will be the last time that they're over 500. And the longer I sat with this, the more I felt, man, Harris is probably going to be in the starting lineup after coming in off the bench. They've got guys rolling, backups rolling. I mean, how impressed are you? These guys, obviously, I knew Malik Beasley. That wasn't a surprise that he was. I mean, to step up the way he stepped up maybe is a bit of a surprise. But for me, seeing Monte Morris is playing so well that they don't care about Isaiah Thomas coming back anymore. I mean, I guess they do care a bit, but Monte Morris is playing good basketball. These guys are playing good basketball. Seth Hagen in the house. So nice to join us. Letting you guys know that we will retweet your action. And I love that Seth's doing it. Much love to Seth. Jeremy Miller says that, like I said earlier, at least take Denver first quarter spread. Alan Action says Nuggets is a nice play. They win tonight with their defense. Plus, they have Millsap and Harris back now. Yeah,
I was thinking about doubling up and taking Ski Profit. Let's see. Do you know the Lakers' deficiencies over Denver? Oh, Ski Profit. It doesn't have anything to say about this game. Yeah, I was thinking about taking Denver. I looked into this one a little bit as well. I was thinking about taking Denver first quarter, taking Denver full game.
Rakeem Reynolds says Nuggets got this, Jimmy and Pete. Fred Gialli and myself are both on Rockets plus 8.5.
And it's just that the issue with Denver is just that they were, when they had all those injuries, they were Jokic and nothing else, and now they're getting healthy, right?
That is it, yeah. Millsap is also a nice distributor for a big man. I like him a lot. Let's see what Tomer has to say. Tomer says, Kings don't defend consistently, but Denver is not a good road team. Denver is very young. Their players are much better at home. Harris is still very limited, playing just 20 minutes last game. But Tomer, that was his first game back. King Rail says, Sack has problems with athletic bigs. And just like Rakeem is saying, they're going to have more trouble this time because they don't even have Bagley out there. Crypto King says, revenge game for the Kings, but I don't see them stopping Denver. Mally Mal says, Rail, Nuggets to play. Agreed. Not applicable. Sack, overrated team. I've heard enough, Pete.
You want to take him?
Yeah,
you want to take him?
Give me the Nuggets full
All right,
game.
you're going to take him full game, huh?
Full game.
All right, so that's going to be, let's see, shout out to King Rail, Ski Profit, everyone who is watching and helping. This is what we need.
I don't know if you've been watching or following.
I've been following what people, they're killing it. Really?
That show is, and they moved up half an hour earlier.
Wow.
There's talk maybe they're probably to go even earlier than that so they can talk about the games that before the 7 o'clock starts. At this point, I guess they only have like the 5 minutes to hammer in the bets, but very, very, very impressive work by King Rail now. There is also talk, I don't know if it's going to go through, but there's talk about a King Rail BMOC competition for the month. And a lot of people are excited about that down here at the office. I don't know if that's going to go through. I hope it does. That would be very exciting to watch. But yes, they're killing it. I need to watch that show today. I'm on the Nuggets minus 3.5.
All right, so we can give you a Denver minus 3.5 minus 105, Denver minus 3.5 minus 105, and I was thinking about taking Denver as well, and also taking the first quarter as was suggested by others. The first quarter, they're going to have to win it, so it's minus a half, minus 112 at Pinnacle. I'll take Denver first quarter.
Crypto King saying Denver sack under might be a better play, Jimmy. I hear you, Crypto King. I'd be curious to hear what the movement has been on that game in the total, but I've been so bad with Kings totals, so bad.
Yeah.
And I haven't gone back since I had the under in the Sacramento Timberwolves game, and it was so high. It was like a 236, and I was like, oh, I'm on the under. And they put up 271 points, and it just looked like an asshole. I don't want to do that. Oh, and Big Man on Campus is joining us. Sweet. Very exciting. Sweet. Love to hear what he's on. Oh, and he's going to be here for our college basketball breakdown, which we're going to be starting very shortly.
All right, so I'm going to take Denver first quarter -1/2, -112. Jimmy the Bag's going to take Denver -3.5, -105. That's the line at Heritage. Hold on one second. Full game. Let me just make sure.
So I know. Okay, we're gonna get to Max very soon.
Actually, it's gonna have to be -106. That's the line.
-106?
Yeah, -106.
Cool, no worries.
Okay.
Big Man joining us right now. A lot of back and forth about this Rockets-Warriors game. I'm on the Rockets +8.5, but I've taken a lot of heat. I wouldn't you say that almost? It seems like everybody is on the
Golden
Warriors
State.
right now.
Yeah.
I would love to hear what you think about this game. The line's pretty. I mean, I can't get 8.5 anymore, right? Or can you still get?
There is 8.5. Yes, Bet Online still has 8.5.
At what?
-110.
Oh wow. I'd love to hear what you're doing with that game. I'd love to hear with all you guys. Why don't we let's discuss this Rockets-Warriors game together?
You sure? Then we're only gonna have 20 minutes because we have a lucrative Larry segment.
Yes, lucrative Larry's back.
So
let's talk 2 minutes. Can we do it for 2 minutes?
Sure.
2 minutes here. Let's see what we have. Carlos Perot's Cheesy Balls is with me. Houston and the points. Dan Kelly, second quarter, Sacramento, +0.5 point. Keep an eye on that. Luis Fernando Esquinza says, nice Heat Nuggets. First quarter is the sharp play. Oh, and Big Man is just gone. Okay. He just says, I'm out, guys. Good luck. Okay. I thought maybe he was going to. Okay. Tom Marino says, Houston has been great at home recently, but they've been garbage on the road, and Gordon is likely out. I think Golden State covers. A lot of people have been saying that. Let's see. MMK says, Golden State winning double digits easily today. Wow, and Dan Kelly just doubled down on the second quarter of Sacramento.
Wow, very nice. All right, let's get to Big Man Campus says Sanford will cover. A little small banger for you. Let's get to college basketball. How about that? We got a massive card.
Let's do it. Do we have
right.
Max ready to go? I haven't heard from Rafa. Do we have Max good to go? Just a sec, he's going to get him right now.
Okay, again, the only pick that I gave was the under in NC State and Miami, Florida. Got 154. It's now down to 152.5, 152 or so. That's the only play that I'm going to give. Also, our man Matt Randall loved the under in the Portland State game at 155. Here we are, Maxwell Smart. Let's just do this very quickly. We only have about 20 or 25 minutes for you, Maxwell Smart. Open-ended question: what plays are you liking tonight?
All right, well, let's Robert Moore, Fairleigh Dickinson. I really like Fairleigh Dickinson tonight. They got 4 double-digit scores. They hit their free throw. They're road warriors, and they're guard-dominated.
Man,
I could hear that. Road Warriors guard-dominated play. He really likes.
We've been working on his sound. We've been working on his sound. I think that we can fix that because we've been putting time and energy into it, and I need to hear what he's saying clearly.
FDU is who we like. We got the information on that one. What else are you liking? Let's just get the top 4 or 5 that you really want to share with us, Maxwell Smart.
Well, I also like Fairfield tonight. I like their rotation. I like their free throws. I like to see them use more of their depth pieces, mix up their defenses. But a late game scenario versus Ryder who doesn't make free throws, I like Neftali Alvarez.
Interesting. Both of those plays moved a half point against Maxwell Smart. He likes Fairfield. They're now up to 3. They opened at 2.5, and Fairleigh Dickinson is up to 1.5. They opened at +1. What else are you liking on Maxwell Smart?
Well, I think that Canisius is going to rebound from the Buffalo game. They're going to go as far as the Kai Molson takes them, but they need some guys off the bench to really put some points in the bucket.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so who do you like there?
I like Canisius.
He likes Canisius. All right. I have a question for you. I was thinking that maybe Arkansas State as a double-digit dog against Louisiana Lafayette might be worth a shot. They opened at 12. They're down to 11 or 11.5. What do you think about Arkansas State maybe first half and full game at 11.5?
Well, if I'm going to play the game, I'm going to play Arkansas State on the first half and University of Lafayette at the half.
Tell us why, because Arkansas State has they got a guy who was on the football team who's now on the basketball team, and he was actually rated higher, I was reading, in basketball. Maybe Arkansas State, for at least a game or two, might start to have a little bit of value, maybe?
Well, they got an individual scorer who can take over and Ty Cockfield. but it's always been a matter of who else can help him out.
So it's been a matter of what? Come again?
It's a matter of who else can help scoring,
Right.
because Ty Cockfield can't do it all.
Right. Okay, so you're not too high on Arkansas State in general then?
I'm not too high on them, but I do think that the first half has value,
Right.
and I think that ULL has valuable game.
Okay. And then what about Louisiana Tech, North Texas under? I was thinking about that one as well, 143.5. What do you think? You have anything to say about that?
Well, I'm a big North Texas guy. I think that they're going to cover at home tonight. I like how they're shooting. I like the ball movement, and I like how they're mixing the ball inside and out.
Okay, so you like North Texas, but not necessarily a play on the under, huh?
No, not on the under.
You like the over, or just no opinion on that one?
No opinion on the total.
Okay, but Maxwell Smart liking the North Texas side there. They are favored by about 4.5. No fours that I'm seeing. Any questions that are coming in?
Yeah, questions. I've got questions here. Red Girl is on the Elon under.
Mm-hmm.
You have any feel on that Elon game, Max?
Oh, I definitely have a feel on the Elon game. I like that Steven Santana's back, really taking the reins of this offense. I understand that he's 6'4", leading this team in rebounds, but he is a true leader, the floor general, and I think that he can really take Drexel's guards to the woodward tonight. The only issue for Elon is, can they get beat on the board?
Interesting. What about Max is so good with these smaller schools.
Mm-hmm.
Anything like what about like North Kentucky, Wright State, Delaware? You have any feel on that?
Yeah, I got a feel on all. I really like Northern Kentucky. I really like Tyler Sharp and Drew Dog. They're actually dominating pretty good right now. If Drew was actually banging the glass and hitting threes, I think that they can put Oakland out tonight. Oakland has trouble stopping the best team's other scores. They have trouble stopping people from scoring in the paint. And if they're not hitting threes, they have trouble scoring in general.
I feel you, Maxwell Smart. You know what? I'm an inch away from taking the first half under in this North Texas game again. Because of the freaking shenanigans at the end of the game. Not sure I want the full game under, but I think I'm going to make the first half under an official play here in the North Texas game. So Maxwell Smart says he likes Northern Kentucky, huh?
Northern Kentucky. Very, very interesting.
Again, another line move that has gone against him. It opened at 5. Now it's down to 3.5 at Pinnacle, 4 or 4.5 at other places. So a lot of these line moves going against Maxwell Smart, which might not be a bad thing. It might be that there's guys crunching numbers that think they have an edge, but Maxwell Smart just doing his hard work, boot leather type of analysis that can't be factored into the models might have the real edge here, Jimmy the Bag. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, watch out for that shit.
No, I feel you. I mean, I've had great success when I see Max is on the play. I look at the play, and the market's moved with him.
Mm-hmm.
So I've pretty much stayed away from the times where if I see the market not going with them, I kind of stay away from that game. We have questions coming in, Max. My man Ron Lofton says, please ask Max his thoughts on Arizona, Colorado under 143.
I'm literally staying away from all Pac-12 games because they've just been a complete disappointment in non-conference. And I got to watch them play teams that they have familiarity with before I start laying any more money on.
Yeah, Pac-12 is always. I say this. How many times I've said this, Jimmy the Bag, in college football, in football and basketball. In my personal opinion, a lot of people say that the Big 12 is the most unpredictable conference. That's right. I don't find that at all. I find the Pac-12 to really be the most unpredictable conference. And it seems like every year in football and basketball, there's some 27-point underdog that wins outright. Very, very hard for me to time when that's likely to happen. I find the Pac-12 the toughest conference personally for me to handicap in both football and basketball. Usually.
Max, you followed what was it? You followed Manhattan very, very closely. They're against Quinnipiac in this game today. Quinnipiac on the road, open minus 2.5. Now 4s and 4.5s. You have any feel on this game?
Yeah, I definitely like Quinnipiac and Cam Young. They shoot better free throws. They can crash the board, and they're excelling offensively from the field right now. I think that they can actually go in and score enough and beat Manhattan.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that watching that, seeing that, breaking that down, seeing the market move. If there was another thing that I've hit a very high percentage of is when you mix. I know this is maybe
A stupid thing to say.
no, just
I'm kidding.
nitpicking a little bit. But when Max likes a game, I cap it, and it's a home team with the market move in their direction. That's the highest percentage I've hit.
Okay.
With anybody, and with now Noli knows is total. So, but
Yes.
the same thing works when the market moves in the direction that he's on. The same thing sort of works there.
All right, well, I'm taking Louisiana Tech, North Texas, first half under 67.5 minus 110. That's a market line now, 67.5. I'm adding that one on. Louisiana Tech, North Texas, first half under 67.5, and leaning full game under as well. And then let me see what else is interesting.
What
Go
about
ahead.
this? NC Wilmington, James Madison, Open Madison, 4-point favorites. It's gone down a point. They are still 3-point favorites. What are you thinking in this one?
Well, I really like the performance Dwight Wilson had in his last game. He was 11 for 12 from the field and put up 22 and 10. I think that he's the X factor for James Madison because you can't rely on Stucker Mosley to contribute offensively except from 3-point range.
Okay.
Interesting. And Drew, my man Drew says, ask him about Marshall covering
The spread.
Well, yeah. covering.
Okay. What do you think about Marshall covering Maxwell Smart?
Well, it's only a matter of time before Marshall figures things out and starts to actually do things right. This is a team that was thought of to finish the first or second in Conference USA. They've been a big disappointment this year, but when someone's a big disappointment, that's when they bite you in the ass with a big dog tick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We talked about Marist and Canisius. I forgot what you said. He liked Canisius. The line has moved in their favor. I was also thinking maybe about a shot with the under as well. These are two very deliberate teams that can play a very slow pace. What do you think about the under in Canisius Marist? Do you like that one at all? And if so, maybe as much as the Canisius side or not?
Well, I like the side a lot more than the total, but when Marist plays home games, they have to play a slow, deliberate pace. They have to play half-court offense where they're relying on ball movement to get open. If they don't play that style, they get blown out.
Right. So why don't you necessarily like the under? It's a very low total, 136 or so. But why don't you like the under? I was leaning maybe also the Marist team total under as well. But you're liking Canisius most of all, right?
Yeah, I like Canisius. They have high expectations from the beginning of the season, and they haven't met them yet. But conference season is a new season. You wipe the slate clean and you play again.
Yeah, and Canisius, of course, coming off of the tough game against Buffalo. Let me ask you about San Francisco. San Francisco was kind of a revelation at the beginning of the year, a very a team that you wanted to bet on, but maybe the market is catching up with them now. What do you think about that?
Well, everyone knows that I love the San Francisco Dons, and I've been supporting them since the first game of the season.
Yeah.
I do think that the bubble is burst on them, and I think that the books have adjusted the lines properly. All that being said, I still like San Francisco tonight. They're at home. They play good defense. And Frankie Ferrari and Charles Minlin are a very interesting backcourt.
Yeah, I mean, for people who aren't familiar, San Francisco was Maxwell Smart was on them from the beginning of the year, and they covered most of their spreads in the beginning of the year. Although, as you often see, then the market starts to catch up, and teams like San Francisco, it's not that they stop winning, it's that the market catches up, and they start to win games by like 9 points, where they're a 10.5-point favorite, stuff like that. So we are seeing San Francisco starting to lose ATS. They've actually lost 3 in a row ATS after opening the season 7-1-2, and here you go. They beat Northern Arizona by 16. Great win, right? ATS lost. They were 23-point favorites. Nice win. They beat Stanford by 9. Unreal, right? 9.5-point favorites. So you lost ATS. 3 straight ATS losses. I think probably going forward, San Francisco is going to be 50-50 ATS, but maybe tonight, St. Mary's, I feel, is a program that still gets a lot of respect. Maybe tonight is where San Francisco has one more game with some line value. No?
Oh, I definitely see where you're coming from on that. St. Mary's has a solid Jordan Ford, and Jordan Hunter is a very slow-moving scoring piece down low. against a team like San Francisco that wants a slower pace and relies on playing the half-court offense and not going to 80 each game, it's a plausible result for St. Mary's to come out
Right.
on top, but I still can't.
In the meantime, Ski Profit tells us the Raptors total has jumped back up to 218 going against Dan Kelly. That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. I trust Dan Kelly, but that kind of line movement on an NBA total at this time in the day is not something that's nice to see. Capper John, like St. Mary's +3, calling San Francisco a fraud. I mean, St. Mary's is not the same caliber of St. Mary's team we've seen from them in years past, but is San Francisco a fraud?
I wouldn't go as far as to say they're a fraud.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I got a couple questions here and a couple questions from the chat, Max. First off, Charleston Towson. Towson, 8-point dogs at home. Moves slightly, I guess, slightly in their favor. There's a couple 7.5s on the board now. You feel anything on Charleston Towson?
Well, I definitely researched the game and think that Towson is your typical junkyard dog team. They rely on Brian Fobbs to score, and they really rebound as a team. I think that they're in a good spot against Charleston. It's just a matter of Charleston's going to play hard enough to cover, or they're going to play hard enough to win. I like Grant Riller and I like Brantley, but Riller's only advantage they have on offense. And if it becomes a rock fight, Towson has a good chance to stay in it.
Nice. I like that. What about William and Mary at Delaware? Opened up as a pick'em, and money is coming in on the Road Tribe. William and Mary. Who are you liking in this spot?
Well, I'm definitely liking the over in this game because I think William and Mary have figured some things out offensively, but they're not up to par as they were last year. They're really missing Burkfield and David Cohn. I think that they can win this game. I'm putting my money on it. I like Delaware tonight. I like reverse line movement. I didn't understand why they put out a PK in the first place. So I'm going to go with Ryan Allen, Eric Carter on Delaware and take the over.
All right, sounds good. In the meantime, I've made a decision. I'm going to take Canisius first half. Canisius first half +1, -105. That's the current line at Intertops. I do like this spot for Canisius. I think, I like them full game as well, but I think I like the first half even more, and I'm going to take that one +1, -105. So, Jimmy the Bag, you're still waiting and listening. I've added on the North Texas first half under 67.5, Canisius first half +1, -105, and I've given the NC State Miami game under full game and first half under as well.
Question here, Maxie. What do you think about Pepperdine at home as road dogs? Opened at +3. Some money coming in on them. They're now at +2.5.
Well, I've watched a lot of Marymount games this year, and I like them in smaller spread games. I like the fact that they're going to have familiarity against Pepperdine, and I'm not really scared of Pepperdine on home court. They've let me down a couple times this season, but I'm more inclined to play the total and play the over.
Interesting. Playing the over in this one. Going to have to watch back this show. Go over line movement. St. Louis Elite also joining us. Side note, St. Louis Elite, very curious to what you think is going to happen in the Blues Capitals game. If you could just pop that in the old chat, that would be great. Big game on the West Coast late. Stanford at UCLA. UCLA taking a little bit of money, open to 7-point favorites, now 7.5-point favorites. What do you have any feel on this Stanford UCLA spot?
Well, I'm not betting Pac-12 like I said before, but if UCLA is going to freaking show any balls, they're going to win tonight. They got their coach fired because they quit on him, and now they need to really show that they have the talent that everyone thought of the preseason to run the Pac-12 and actually finish in a respectable spot.
Yeah, this probably is a good spot for them. Interesting. My man Brant Hunt, our man Brant Hunt says, ask him about Memphis, Wichita.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Hail to the victors, not happy with all these small schools. Go ahead, Maxwell Smart.
Yeah, that's a very tough game. If I'm looking to play that, I'm looking to play the under. I'm not looking to play a side. Memphis is capable of scoring at home, but Wichita State is capable of shutting them down. Marcus McDuffie is going to determine who wins and covers this.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, this Wichita team has been so disappointing.
So let me ask you this: Maxwell Smart. People who aren't familiar with him, he covers all these games and all these teams very, very in depth. If you had to identify your top 3 or 4 plays that you'd like to share with us right now, sides or totals, what would they be?
Oh, that's a tough one.
No, they don't have to be the actual literal top 3 or 4. Just the first 3 or 4 that come to mind. You're really liking this one, really liking that one. Can be 4, 5, 6, whatever you want. Can be 1 or 2.
Okay, let me have a look here. I like Furman a lot tonight. I think they're in a perfect rebound spot after that slaughter at ETSU. And I also think that ETSU is in a letdown spot for Samford. Stanford's been good to me all season. I think I'll continue fighting them. And as far as the later games, actually, no. I like St. Francis Brooklyn. They've been very good to me. I think that they're in a good position against Bryant. Bryant blew their load against Iowa as a 29-point dog. And I think South Dakota State's also in a great spot.
Okay, so he likes a Furman, Samford, and South Dakota State.
And the over.
Furman, Samford, South Dakota State, and the over, huh?
Yes, sir.
What about the Samford? What about the South Dakota State team total over? How about that? That might be a great play, Jim.
Yeah.
If you think that they're going to hit over 90 points, then yeah. But I haven't looked at the numbers.
So there's people want to know about some of the more marquee matchups tonight. We have Iowa at Purdue. Money coming in on Purdue. What do you think about that spot?
That's one of the tough spots I'm trying to stay off tonight because they have non-basketball factors affecting the game. Purdue superfan died after battling cancer, and I think they're going to come out and really want to blow Iowa out. The problem is Tyler Cook is not a pushover, and if Luka Garza plays, I think that Iowa can really hit Purdue tonight.
Okay, then we have a couple other marquee matchups. We have Illinois at Indiana. Indiana opened at BetOnline as 11.5-point favorites. Some movement towards Illinois. You think Indiana, 21-ranked Indiana at home, can cover double digits?
I think that Illinois is going to cover the spread. I think Indiana is in a look-ahead spot. Kobe Valentine taught me that to this morning. I think that the Big 12 is a league with parity, so double-digit favorites are not going to cover most of the time.
Penn State at Michigan.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Opens as Michigan 12-point favorites. A little bit of money coming in on Penn State. What do you think about Michigan at home covering this big spread?
Well, it depends on how bad Michigan wants. If they're motivated to play, they're going to cover the spread.
Ugh.
Otherwise, they're going to lay a dud like against the Binghamton.
Those games are so frustrating. Those motivation games, you know what I mean? It's like, well, if they want to cover, they can. If they don't want to cover, they probably won't. Unless I have a real good, solid lead on motivational factors for either team, more so the favorite. Those are just so tough. You know, the Penn State, Michigan, those friggin' 11 and a half games. So many games of those wind up on 13-9, coming down to those are like the heart attack games written all over it. This one, Penn State, the heart attack games though can have great live betting value. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, the games where you're looking at these games and you're like, oh my God, that's a total pass. It's got heart attack written all over it. Keep this in mind. Those are the games you want to be thinking about for live betting because, you know, if Penn State is way down, then you might want to bet on them to keep it a little bit close. If it's even early, you might want to bet on. You're basically betting on the game to go down to the wire. You know, if you think the game is very, very likely to go down to the wire, and at any point it deviates from that, it can be great live betting. Betting on the game to even out closer towards the final score. And this one, the Penn State game, has that written all over it.
All of these ranked teams are sort of in the same spot as double-digit favorites. One ranked team, Max, Wisconsin, at home to Minnesota, opens as 11.5-point favorites at BetOnline. BetOnline's now down to 9.5 points. So 2 to 2.5-point move towards Minnesota. Do you think Wisconsin did not deserve to be 11.5-point favorites against Minnesota?
Well, Wisconsin's shown us all year that they deserve to be that kind of favorite, but is it a good spot with such a huge card to be putting it on? I'd rather avoid this game, watch it, see how Minnesota reacts on the road, because some teams get up for being double-digit dogs. I don't know if Minnesota's one of those teams.
And I have decided I'm gonna double up on the Louisiana Tech North Texas under. I'm gonna take the full game under as well, 143.5 minus 110. So I'm on the first half and the full game under there. And of course on that one, Maxwell Smart said that he liked North Texas. All right, Jimmy the Bag, we got to wrap it up right now. We did cover a lot of games in a very small amount of time. Maxwell Smart, of course, obviously, does his deep homework, which is what you want and need when it comes to this stuff, college basketball. You know what I mean? Who has the time and sanity to cover 400 teams in depth? Not many, but some do. And Maxwell Smart is one of them. He's not the only one, but he's one of them, and he does it damn well. Maxwell Smart, thanks so much for being with us.
Yeah, thanks, Max.
Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it as always. Look forward to next time.
Maxwell, motherfucking smart. Maxwell, motherfucking smart. Of course, there's going to be wild ups and downs. We were making 80 bets a day on some of these college basketball cards. Yeah, you're going to have your ups and downs. And Maxwell Smart is definitely a guy who I trust his read and his research implicitly on these teams. Does the kinds of research that can only be done through hard work and dedication. There's no way to get the kind of insights that he have with these teams, through a spreadsheet, and not that the spreadsheet guys are wrong. I'm not one of these people who says like, the game's not played on a spreadsheet. Of course it is played on a spreadsheet, but there are definitely factors that cannot be easily factored into the spreadsheets. And Maxwell Smart is the kind of guy who deep dives into his research to find those factors for college basketball.
He certainly does. It's funny with this time change of our show, it actually does help my late action.
Does it?
Because I'm not forced to put it in during the show. I can make the move. I can go back to my desk and figure out, is this the right move or was I just forcing something or reaching? There's some great stuff coming in from everybody.
Well, that's great. But the big question is, what does that do for our ratings? Because if it helps our ratings, that's great. If it hurts our ratings,
no, I hear you.
You know what I'm saying, Jimmy the Bag?
I hear you.
You know what I'm saying, Jimmy the Bag?
We did promise if one of us decides to end it, we'd end it together. Right?
Yeah.
So I need you to stay rolling. I'm
just saying. You feel me, Jim?
Kevin Pine talking about the huge line movement in the Caps game. Tom Marino says Michigan's problem. Oh, we're talking football. Isn't Harbaugh okay? Let's talk a little. We got a little bit more. It's almost ludicrous Larry time. Also, we have the richest race in horse racing coming up January 26th. It is also a day where there's no NHL because of the All-Star game. The most unwatchable All-Star festivities in all sports is the NHL All-Star game. So we're going to pay no attention to that. But we will be doing a Beat the Bag Pegasus World Cup edition. $100 free now. And the more people that start playing these contests, the more money we can provide because the Triple Crown is just around the corner. The Kentucky Derby is just around the corner. That first Saturday in May, the Run for the Roses will be very, very soon. Glenn Elliott Mann says, is this show on the ropes?
No, I'm just saying. If the ratings go down, I don't know. Is
this show on the ropes?
Well, I can tell you what Rocky Meniketti thinks. I'm going to read a comment right here. He says, "Best show in the entire universe." Shout out to you, Rocky Meniketti. If you are someone who doesn't believe that, who doesn't understand why this show is the best show in the universe, go fuck yourself. And on that note, let's bring in Lucrative Larry. How about that?
Yes. We have not had Lucrative Larry here for a long time. He's been, I guess, on vacation. I know that, I don't know exactly what that means, but Lucrative Larry is here joining us. So without further ado, I'm going to put the link here of the Beat the Bag competition. Now, I know it's not for a while, but I'm going to put the link here. Start, let us know that you're into it so we can keep hammering these contests, because I enjoy doing them very much. So without further ado, Lucrative Larry's Plays of Tomorrow.
All right, Lukey. Lukey Larry. Lukey Larry.
Who it is.
Come on down.
Happy New Christmas, Merry Year.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Peters.
Hey, Luke.
Mr. Jimmy's. The Pittsburgh Penguins are playing good hockey. But it was this video. I'm going to show you right now. It really forced my hand to take action.
Oh, wow.
Freddie, roll the clip.
Gotta be Crosby.
¡Hijo de puta! No, si está en Instagram, vuelve eso que acabo de decir. No, es para mi jefa. Para la luz, me caiga bien.
Hey, negro, ¿dónde están, man?
Dígale hola a Sofía, decía anime.
¿Cómo están? ¿Todo bien? Vení al agua. Al agua, ¿cuánto? Vení. Buenas.
Adiós, mae.
Adiós, Mike.
Larry, how was that?
That was in the clip.
All right to me.
Taking the Pittsburgh Penguins over the Winnipeg Jets at -124. Available at Bet Online. That wasn't the clip.
That wasn't the
Thank you,
clip
Freddie.
for Freddie.
That wasn't the clip.
All right. Well, just a little more Larry versus Freddie
Sure.
fighting going down.
I guess so. And that wraps up today's show, right, Jimmy the
It
Bag?
certainly does.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow at when? 11 o'clock Eastern time.
11
That's
o'clock
tomorrow,
Eastern time.
Friday, January 4th, 11 o'clock Eastern time.